FOHN, please come. Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to host as the moderator. Hopefully not get too much in the way. And how we're going to begin is each of these young gentlemen are going to present their journey a little bit. 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, each will share their journey with the holy name. And then we'll move into some kind of prompts from my side to kind of extract wisdom from these folks. I have seen all of them since they were yay tiny. And especially Pran Vallabha, he was yay tiny when I first saw him. And it's such a proud and I feel very honored to be able to do this with the three of them. Because I actually have a lot of love for all three. So with that said, we invite everyone to offer a big round of applause for them. Some in the group are very nervous, as you probably can sense. And so, let's see what happens. So we have an hour and a half, approximately. We'll conclude at about 12:30, and that'll be Aarti at that time. Okay, so I'd like to invite first Pran Vallabha. Would you like to kick us off? Share with us your journey with the holy name.
It's definitely, I'm still on the journey. I can't speak of it as a past tense. I think my experience, I'd like to specifically speak on one aspect, and that's how Krishna consciousness can't exist without spiritual experience. It's very experiential, and in my life, I can speak to that being the impetus and the sustainer of my own journey with the holy name. Starting younger, I always had an affinity for reading. I'd like to read a lot. I read, our Shastras and stuff like that. But it always stayed very intellectual for me. It was always something that, I gained facts and trivia, and it stayed very much within the head. And was not based on experience so much. Of course, there was like experiences in kirtan, but I could say the limit to my experience in Krishna consciousness was the limit of fun I had. So how much fun I had with my friends at the temple was how much I like Krishna consciousness. How much I had fun in kirtan was how much I liked the specific aspect, and that was the limit of my enjoyment of the holy name or the philosophy. But I think that it's something that's lived. And for me, I think the biggest change in that was going to Vrindavan. I think specifically being in the land of Braj, where Radha and Krishna are, even to this day, I think for me that was such the impetus, because it brought everything into something of experience. It was no longer something theoretical of what I've read. It was not a fact of a piece of trivia in my head, but rather something lived. And it was extremely, mysterious, I could say, because for somebody who, I felt not qualified or at the level to even have a spiritual experience, was having experience and then realizing that that's the whole point. The whole point is to have an experience in Krishna consciousness, not something theoretical, not something ritualistic, but experiential. And I think I could share, for me, I decided that while I was in Vrindavan to do Govardhan Parikram every Ekadasi. and just trying to take advantage of being in the land of Braj. And, doing it by myself, the only thing to really do is to chant. Sometimes it'd be either singing or chanting my japa. And that was the first time, I guess, in my life I felt that, wow, this is something I like doing. Not because I have to, not because, it's the right thing to do, but it's something that I actually, on my own, found myself chanting. And I think this is something that many people who've come to Vrindavan, you just notice that you're just chanting whenever you're in Vrindavan in your downtime. That's just what you do. There's something to the place of Vrindavan, the potency that the holy name is present. For me, I could say, we go to Vrindavan, we may think, oh, Radha and Krishna, they're not there anymore. They were there 5,000 years ago, but then now they're no longer present. But then we hear that, yes, they are there. They're always there. Their leelas are always happening. But actually to realize that Nam contains the form, which is the rupa, the guna, the qualities, and the leelas, all within the holy name. So the way to access Radha and Krishna's pastimes happening in the Dham is through the holy name. And not saying that I experienced anything of that sort, but to tap into that very slightly, to feel that, wow, this is something that can reveal these things. It was kind of astonishing for me, because I'm bringing something from theory into lived experience is actually a pretty profound experience, because you have to sit back for a second and think, wow, this is all real. Because reading only takes you so far, because it could be wrong. It's just something that you read, it's a fact. But then bringing it into lived experience, you realize, wow, this is something that's more beyond just what I've heard. It's something that's lived in. For me, I think that is the greatest gift of Krishna consciousness, is spiritual experience. And for me, I've based my life since then around how can I continue to have experiences in Krishna consciousness. And when I feel dry, which it happens a lot, it's most of the time, it's a constant reminder of how can I bring myself into an environment where I can experience this. Something that Satchidananda Maharaj focuses so much on is giving a spiritual experience. And that's something that I feel very grateful to have. Experiences like this, the Festival Holy Name, I think it's so important to take advantage of an environment created here that Maharaj has put so much effort into, to find an experience of your own, find something that's your own. It's not somebody else's experience that they've spoken about, but using that as a way to find your own experience and make Krishna consciousness personal to you and find it. I think that's something that's extreme value. That's the only thing that I found really worked for me. No matter, luckily I feel very grateful I was never really forced into chanting. When I was young, there was always the option to find that on my own. And I think that only pushed me to discover for myself. That gave me the curiosity to, what is this all about for myself, not for anybody else? And in that, developing a relationship, but also an experience within Krishna consciousness, you make it your own. It really feels like your own. It doesn't feel like that's something that was imposed on you. So there's always pressure from, you put on yourself. There's always pressure from other devotees, seemingly from the community. But I feel like if you can put all of that aside and really find your own path in Krishna consciousness and find an experience that shows that Krishna is real, to whatever extent that can be at our level of conditioning, but to find that Krishna is real and the experience of Krishna consciousness is the real deal. I think that for me is the most inspirational thing in my own chanting and in my own relationship with the Holy Name, because when I feel dry, I can think back to experiences, and because those are my own experiences and they're not extrinsic to me, there are definitely the things that, fuel my chanting and bring that some sort of semblance of taste back into a dry practice, because I can remember that I experienced this at one point and it is possible. So, I don't know, that's what I'd like to share for now.
Would you like to go next, or would you like to hand it off to
You can go.
Okay, I thought so. Dhanidhi.
Yeah, I'm not as well spoken, so if you don't understand me, that's not your fault. But I think, yeah, my journey of with the Holy Name had its ups and downs. Whenever, like, my parents joined, I started chanting because my mentors told me to chant, my parents told me to chant, and I think out of all the spiritual practices, chanting was the only thing, like, I didn't reject at first. Like, I didn't like reading, I didn't like sitting in class or doing anything else, but chanting was like something that was okay, like it seemed normal to me. So yeah, I kept chanting, I didn't have any problem with it, and then I'd hear from like my mentors and Guru Maharaj, like, oh yeah, it's on your birthday, increase your rounds by 1. So like I had like a very like rapid increase in the number of rounds I chanted at a young age, and I was happy doing it. And then college happened and I completely stopped chanting, just from like no association or whatever it may have been. But yeah, I took a really big break, and I realized, yeah, I took a really big break, and then after I came back home, I still didn't chant for a while, and I asked myself, or like I thought to myself that something was missing. Like I was seeing that everything that I was doing was kind of not meaningless, but there's like no value in what I was doing. And somehow, through the Holy Name's inspiration, I came to the conclusion that it was because chanting wasn't a part of my life anymore. So then I decided to start chanting again, and like I went back to step 1. I just started chanting like 4 rounds a day, and then gradually I came back up to what I wanted to be at. And though at that point it was just getting the rounds done, and that was also, that thought just came from Krishna. I don't know why I wanted to get the rounds done, but I think it was because of the fact that I thought the Holy Name was missing from my life, so I wanted to get that done every day. So they were bad rounds. Like they'd be on the bed, they'd be driving rounds, they'd be washing stuff and chanting. Like it was just to get the rounds done. But slowly, as time progresses, I just kept doing that. Like different inspirations and different teachings would like come to me. So like I'd go to a seminar, or I'd go to like a retreat, and then I'd hear something about the Holy Name, and I'd have inclination to follow that. So slowly I felt like my respect for the Holy Name was increasing by a lot. I stopped sitting on the bed, and then my next phase was putting my phone away and chanting. And then the next thing was like attending japa calls and stuff, where we'd keep our camera on and we'd like focus. It was Vaisheshik Prabhu's japa calls. I attended that for some time. But yeah, like I was able to find association, and I was able to find practices that helped me develop my respect and deepen my like love for the Holy Name. And then, yeah, that's when I also went to Vrindavan for some time. And as Pranav Vallabha was sharing, it was really the experiences that deepened my chanting. So, as I said, I wasn't really big into reading or anything before, But after reading some scriptures and like understanding what Prabhupada is saying and what our acharyas are saying, and then doing my chanting, the chanting was like a lot deeper, because it was kind of like when I chanted, it validated the things that I was reading in the scriptures from my experiences, which was really nice, and it like definitely strengthened my faith also. But yeah, that's also like when I kind of understood, as Pranabal was saying, that like everything is within the name. It's not just, chanting, saying the names of the Lord, but in that there's service, in that there's a relationship, in that there's love. So yeah, like the experience of reading Shastra and then like experiencing it through chanting, that helped a lot. And yeah, even now I'm still having my ups and downs, mostly downs, but but yeah, I think when these guys asked me if I wanted to share and I was reflecting, I kind of realized that like the holy name took me on a journey, and like I heard this point about not being the doer from Satchidananda Maharaj a few years ago, and I realized, yeah, I actually am the receiver of the mercy of the holy name. So like, yeah, the holy name definitely took me on a journey and brought me to where I am today. So yeah, that's what I have.
It's not your journey with the holy name, it's the holy name's journey with you. Nice. Thank you. Can't escape, you're the last one.
Yeah, I think my journey started with my love for Mridanga, actually. Not so much with the holy name. I think playing Mridanga indirectly put me in contact with the holy name. I was always really enthusiastic about going to play Mridanga in Kirtan, and at that time it was just, when I was little, it was like me and Nirantara Prabhu, 4 to 5 every Sunday, and I had to be there, and if I wasn't on time, I would scream at my mom for not getting there on time. Yeah, I feel like since I was little, I was always really enthusiastic about playing Mridanga in Kirtan. I didn't really understand that Kirtan was more than just playing Mridanga. Yeah. Yeah, about like 2-3 years ago, I was in kind of like a rough spot with like my relationship with Mridanga and Kirtan. I didn't really feel like I wanted to go to Kirtan anymore, because there was like, I wasn't as enthusiastic anymore, and yeah, I didn't feel like being a part of Kirtan, because it was getting boring for me. So then I spoke with Rompal Maharaj about it, and he told me like to think about a few things. He told me be around those who have some taste for the holy name, and then he also told me try chanting japa. So yeah, and then I think a few months later, after we spoke, he wrote me an email about like, he told me that the same way I practice Mridanga, I should also try to apply that with japa. So I tried that for a few rounds, and honestly, I didn't feel anything while chanting those rounds, but I think then when I went into Kirtan, I was able to experience Kirtan in a different way almost. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's when I kind of realized that when we're performing kirtan, it shouldn't be about like what I'm feeling. It should be about like serving the holy name, not so much about like the musical aspect of it. Yeah, and I still have ups and downs with this, with kirtan, not feeling it as much, but yeah, and I think something that also helps me is getting inspiration from like other devotees who have the taste for the holy name. Like Arindra Prabhu was a big inspiration for me, just like his dedication to the 24-hour kirtan, how he established it, and the way he speaks was like very heavily about kirtan and the holy name. It's really, yeah, it's inspiring for me. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. That was really nice. So the reason I know you guys since yay high, and in your case you weren't yay high, you were horizontal, because you just couldn't stand at the time, is because of your parents. And having a relationship with all three of your parents. I was curious, and they haven't, trust me, they haven't paid me to say this or ask this, but what would you say has been the influence of your parents in your journey with the holy name? And how many parents in the group here? Not their parents, means parents in general. Okay. What advice would you have? Trying to get everyone uncomfortable a little bit. What advice would you have for parents in general? Because honestly, you know, you grew up in the movement, and you've taken initiation. You took initiation last year. This year, you're taking initiation this weekend. So that's a big step. And many parents here would be like, oh, I wish my child could. So, so what would be your, what has been in the influence, and then what would be your advice for aspiring parents of serious devotees? Anyone wants to take the mic?
Well, because the parents are aspiring doesn't mean the kids have to aspire. I think it really comes back to the original point. I think the greatest gift, honestly, was that I had no force. And I didn't chant for years. Like, I just didn't like it. I didn't like chanting. Even now, most days, I don't like chanting, you know? It's a lack of taste. And the best thing to do is to develop taste. And I think it kind of comes back to my original point, which is why I wanted to share it. I think we can all speak for it. The reason being allowed the space to make the decision for yourself, I think, is really important. And I feel very grateful, not only for my parents, but even Maharaj being so patient with not forcing, and since he's known me since literally I was out the womb, but never put any pressure that I have to, you know, be at a certain standard, or just having the space, I think, first is really important, because just the way the parents most likely chose Krishna consciousness as their path, they have to allow the children to choose Krishna consciousness for themselves. I think that's really important. And then the second thing is, I really think the process of bhakti works. I think Krishna consciousness works. But if you tell somebody it works, that doesn't work. It only works if you...
Write that down. Tell somebody it works, it doesn't work.
And I think back to having an experience, whether that's an experience in chanting, whether that's an experience in a class, whether that's an experience, reading on their own or japa even. Like for me, that's what made me decide to take this step, because I was like, wow, this is real. But I think allowing the space for someone to explore for themselves, but also facilitating that by, having them in places with good kirtan, good sangha, where taking them to Vrindavan, I think these samskaras, whether you know it or not, is giving something without any force. I think just seeing that, that these people are having such nice experiences in these places, I think from a young age, that itself does so much to naturally then, because like Rohan mentioned, like being in Kirtan was an experience that he liked for fun, but then that developed into something. I think for me, there were experiences like that. And lastly, this is my last point, and this is, I guess, the hardest bit, is being a good devotee. Like, I think leading by example does so much. Like for me, seeing my parents, the types of devotees they were, very authentic, very honest to themselves, how they practice Krishna consciousness. I think for me that itself was an inspiration, that they never had to tell me to do something, but seeing the way that they led their lives inspired me to live my life. So I think instead of, it's the classic show, don't tell. I think if you tell, you must do this, no one wants to do that. But if you see someone else having a wonderful life, you want to have such a life. So I think the best thing you can do for inspiring your children is be a great devotee yourself. Go deeper in your own practice. Go deeper with the why of why am I doing Krishna consciousness. And I think that itself will do so much, at least from my own personal experience.
Anything you would like to add?
I agree with everything he said. I think for me, I wasn't so forced. I wasn't so forced either. I just happened to like it because they asked me to read and hear and stuff. I didn't do that, so it was. I think for children or for anyone, there's different things that they connect to, different ways that they can express their love for Krishna, and whatever that is. I think they should stick with that and grow that. And then, as Prana was saying, as time goes by, then people will naturally want to develop a relationship with the Holyname. Time isn't really that big of a factor, because as we hear, bhakti acts in mysterious ways, and whether you decide to take it seriously when you're young or decide to take it seriously when you're older, the rate of which your attraction grows and your relationship grows for Krishna is very different. I think whatever someone's inclination is, whatever service or chanting, japa, hearing, or whatever. I think that's what matters, and that's what you should grow. Yeah.
Thank you. It's beautiful. The one thing that they like, Kirtan in Rohan's case, or chant for you, in your case, just to allow them to stick with it, right? And then just manifest into something beautiful. Did you want to add anything to that?
I think they covered most of it, but yeah, I would say don't force your kids to chant, because then it's no, do not force your kids to chant. Because I've seen it in my own family. My brother, he did not like coming to the temple, but somehow he found somebody he was inspired by, and stuck with him and started chanting, and now he leads kirtans and comes to the temple and enjoys it. And yeah, I think the leading by example for parents is also a big part. Because my mom, I don't think she ever forced us. And yeah, I think patience is a big thing too.
Wow, heartwarming. Have you seen a change in how you relate with others because of how your relationship with the Holy Name has evolved? Maybe we'll start with you, Dayanidhi.
Yeah, I'd say yes, because before I was, I think, very like PDS, like, oh, if you don't chant, I'm not talking
Can
to
you translate PDS for us?
many
I don't know what that is.
What is PDS? Some people don't know. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll explain it. You say.
No, you got it. You brought it up.
It's like pure devotee syndrome. So like, when you first join, you're just like fascinated by everything, and you're like, oh wow, I need to be at like the top standard for everything. I can't slack. Like 4 a.m. Mangalarti, like Bhagavatam class, then chanting. Yeah, but. So I guess I was like that before, and I was, whoever wasn't to that standard or whoever didn't chant, I kind of looked down upon, or I just didn't want to associate with. But yeah, now definitely that I've seen like the impact the Holy Name has had on my life, I know it's all powerful. So like, I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I mean, I still am pretty disrespectful to some people, but I'm not gonna like consciously be disrespectful or like be rude to anyone, because if they have the chance to chant the Holy Name, or if just our interaction makes them favorable to come to Krishna and chant, I know that will have the best effect on their lives. So I'd say it definitely has made a difference in the way I interact.
Less judgmental, more accepting
Yeah,
of
for
persons
sure.
and their own journey, kind of thing. Yeah, nice. Right. Rohan, would you like to go next? How has, or if has the Holy Name impacted your relationships?
Yeah, I'm not really, I feel like I still act the same, but I think it definitely, with my interactions with others, like I was also like PDS like he was, and like if people weren't following the like rules and regulations, I would be like, what the heck are you guys doing? But now I think I'm moving away like from that, and it's making me more like judgment free.
Seems like most people have to go through the PDS stage, huh? Yeah, thank you. You have any thoughts on that?
I'll have to think about it. It's a good question. I haven't really reflected on that. What I can speak on is slightly different, is that I noticed that in my japa, all my experiences with other people come up. Like when I'm chanting, that's when I start thinking about like the conversation, like, oh, I should have said something else, or like, I think that's my time for my mind to really go crazy. So I think in a way, trying to, because that's when a lot of it comes up, a lot of the anarthas, whatever's going on comes up, I think, but trying to practice controlling the mind, I think, because I think allowing things to take up space in your mind sometimes artificially enlarges whatever it is. So I think taking shelter of the Holy Name, especially in those moments, I think that's helped so that I don't, overthink or, overly enlarge something that's not proper, but I guess that's the best I could respond to that. But I don't know specifically in terms of my relationship with other people. I have to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it really challenges you to think about, how my relationships have changed because of the holy name. But the point you made is nice, because when we are chanting, it does happen that a flood of relationship tensions come during chanting, and then you try to use or try to request Krishna to help you in the chanting process to work on those relationships, right? Yeah, that's nice. So along those lines, I want to ask you guys, what have you caught yourself having the most weirdest thought when chanting?
I started, he started, now you gotta start. What was the thought, or
PG-13, what's the weirdest thought that has come to your mind while chanting?
Honestly, sometimes when I'm in a group chanting, is the way people chant so distracting, and it's really easy to start just thinking about everyone's own, like some people shake their knees, some people their vocal inflections, they sing. It's like, I guess that's pretty, just start paying attention to how other people do it. I don't know.
Rohan?
I don't know.
Okay, you've not had any weird thoughts.
No, I honestly don't know if any of my weird thoughts are PG-13. I said I honestly don't know if any of my weird thoughts have been PG-13.
All right, we'll move on. So I wanted to share with you a little, one of the things that I have experienced is, I may have some rounds when I'm going to work or left at work, and so I'll go for a japa walk. And believe it or not, one time I went into a church that was near my workplace, and a cop comes into the sanctity of this church environment and says, "What do you got there?" And I showed him my beads. He's like, "Okay," because someone called in complaining that you might be having a gun in your hand. So you have grown up in devotee families, you have a certain hairstyle, you have a certain clothes that you wear, you carry on the japa beads. Have you encountered such moments where you try to either hide your Krishna conscious practice, or how do you deal with maybe this feeling of embarrassment that you're different?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I would be like really embarrassed about like being Krishna conscious. Like, I remember we'd go for Holyname, I would see my friends, I would like put my hoodie, try to hide myself. Yeah.
And how do you like recenter yourself without necessarily sort of changing who you are?
Can you repeat that?
How do you recenter yourself without necessarily changing who you are to conform to social expectations around you?
Like now, you're not embarrassed. Like you walk somewhere, you don't hide your face anymore. So what changed?
I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
I'm
That's
not
fine.
sure,
Yeah. Anyone else would like to respond? Have you had experiences of embarrassment or something like that, or you try to hide your practice, or?
Yeah, definitely in high school, I would be very like filtered. Like I wouldn't show anyone anything. Then I remember like I didn't watch sports or anything in high school because I just wasn't interested, and I didn't have. But like when we came to the lunch table, I didn't have anything to talk about because all they talked about was sports. Yeah, like I'd purposefully like watch sports just to talk about stuff and not talk about like my personal life with my friends. But as to your second question, what changed? I think when I started contemplating the why, and as Maharaj was saying in the morning class, like when you understand the sadhya, then you can do your sadhana properly. So that changed. Like when I had a clear answer to the why, then I was like, okay, it's my relationship with Krishna. It's not like what all these other people are thinking. Yeah, so it was like, it's kind of like, yeah, they don't really matter like in my relationship with Krishna. So then, yeah, I was like proud to be like a devotee, kind of like I was happy to show that side of myself.
Give you a grounding just thinking about why, yeah? You're able to be who you are without necessarily conforming. Nice. Did you want to add to that, or are you good?
I just have a short story. It's that in middle school, I was so embarrassed. I mean, I had a shika and like earrings, so already I was like, I looked weird. But beyond that, I was like, and I had a necklace. Like, I don't want to like tell anybody else anything else. I was like, people ask questions about my shika, and they're like, oh, just something I think is cool. Like, it's just like, why do you have earrings? I don't know. Like, it's like, what's that around your neck? What? There's something around my neck? Like, I would just evade the questions like as much as possible, and I just didn't want anyone to know. And I remember it was Nrsimha Chaturdasi at the temple, and I was like helping with like Pujari Seva, so I didn't have a shirt on, I had a chadar, and I heard someone call my name, and I turned around, and it's this kid from my middle school in the temple room, this ginger white kid, Ellison Lohman, who is like, hey Prahlad, what are you doing here? And I turned around and said, what are you doing here? My heart dropped. I was like, what's going on right now? I have tilak, I have a chadar on, and this kid, I'm like, you're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here? And then he's like, actually my dad's really into yoga and thought that he wanted to bring me here. I was like, why is your dad into yoga? Why are you here? And then, but it actually turned into a really cool conversation because he was like asking me about like what I was doing, what the festival, because his dad brought him and he was curious. And then I like explained what was going on, and I actually found out that I really enjoyed explaining what was happening, and it was something that I never realized that I could share, and like share Krishna consciousness in a way that other people who may not be familiar with it can understand. It was such a nice experience for myself. I think for me that was the turning point that actually explained, I mean, this kid from school, I'm trying to explain to him why there's a half man, half lion ripping a guy's dad to shreds. Like, I was just like, but I felt that I did a pretty good job, and he like understood it and he appreciated it. And for me, it was such a turning point that, wow, Krishna consciousness is something that actually somehow makes sense. And if you explain it in a way that people are receptive, it's not that crazy. Like, it may seem a little like if people are not used to it, but explaining it wasn't so odd. So I guess from then on, I was kind of more open about what was going on, because I was like, oh, this actually, yeah, this is not that crazy. It's only a little.
Nrsingadev, on that day, it had to be that day. So, how many of us struggle with chanting? When you guys find yourself in a slump a little bit, what is your go-to method to get out of that slump, to reconnect? What have you found to be like these jewels of wisdom that you've learned over the years to help you get out?
I think for me, two things. Like I said when I was in in my experience. When I feel dry, try to remind myself of the experiences I have had and how real it felt when I did have those experiences, and that this process works. I think that's one. And the other is try to be around people who have taste. And that may not necessarily be, somebody who is super advanced, or, of course, I feel very grateful that I have had association of such devotees, but even people who have more taste than me, which is pretty easy to find. I think finding that and having them share a little bit of how their experience, or just speaking about Krishna consciousness, what's inspiring them, I think for me, just seeing how inspired they are inspires me. So I think those are two things, for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's that is one major thing, thinking about the experiences I've had with the holy name before, where I've really, really just felt happiness and connection with Krishna. And then that helps me strive to do that again. And another thing is prayer. Prayer really helps. So yeah,
Is there a specific prayer you have you could share?
Nothing specific. I just ask Krishna to help me focus. Sometimes I talk to my mind. I'm actually today morning's guided japa session was very, very helpful for me. Visualizing locking the mind away in a box, that actually really helped. So I'm gonna carry that forward. But yeah, asking my mind to just please stay calm for a few hours and let me chant my rounds. So yeah, prayer really helps. And then lastly, that point of me not being the doer but the receiver, that helps a lot for me.
Is there anything you'd like to share from your experience?
Yeah, I think associating with those who have greater taste definitely helps me. Either reading about them or just being in their presence. Before Govinda Prabhu came, actually, I was I've been in a slump recently, but he came and did kirtan, I was like, amazing kirtans. So yeah, I think associating with others who have that taste helps me a lot. Yeah.
Tell me a time when you guys had the most special japa experience. Where was that? Where was that, and what were the circumstances around that most special japa experience?
Yeah, I don't really have to think about mine. It was in Govardhan, Burijan Prabhu was leading a Being Alone with Krishna retreat. So it's a complete digital detox. And this was, I think, one of his first ones where it lasted 3 days or something. And yeah, he'd give us prompts, and he'd really encourage us to build our relationship with Giriraj. He literally said, introduce yourself to Giriraj, tell him about yourself. And so it was very...
So you gave him your name, your place of birth,
yeah,
all of that, huh?
Everything, yeah. And then he'd give us prompts to write about or think about. So I remember that night I went back to, so every day we'd spend 4 hours sitting by Govardhan chanting. And then I think that night I went by myself to Govardhan, and I was sitting right by the foothills, and it was completely dark, and I was just hearing a bunch of animals moving around and stuff, and yeah, that I was it was like very secluded, very dark, but that was one of my most powerful experiences, like just following what Burjan Prabhu said, taking in everything that he told us to try.
Being in the Dham, in a
Yeah.
forested area, it was kind of dark. Wow.
Yeah.
4 hours you chanted that day?
Yeah, we did 2-hour session in the morning, 2 hours in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How about you guys? Most special japa experience?
For me, I think
Or kirtan. Or kirtan.
for me, in terms of japa, was I was doing Braj Mandal Parikram, and it was the third day, and all of us were wiped. It was brutal. None of us were getting into the consciousness, and we had walked from, the first day was from Krishna Balaram Temple to Mathura, second day is Mathura to Madhuvan, third day is Madhuvan all the way to Radhakund. And that last day, that third day at Radhakund was just, it was a brutal walk in the heat, and I was feeling no connection to the Dham at all. And I was feeling no connection. And it's doing some sort of tapasya like that, really all of whatever's going on underneath really comes up. All your crises of faith, all your issues, everything just comes right to the top. And it's just like, what am I doing here? Is this all real? Why am I putting myself through this? Does Krishna really care? You know, Krishna just said Patram Pushpam, like, why am I doing all of this? You know, just give him a flower, he'll be happy, you know? And I'm like, is Krishna real? Like, is this process real? Like, it was so brutal. And I was just walking, we got to Radhakund, and I just walked down from Radhakund, and I just felt in my heart to turn into a corner. And I turned, and I found this Baba sitting, and he was just sitting and chanting japa, and I paid, and he's like, oh, do you know what this place is? And he said, this is Narottam Das Thakur's Bhajan Kutir. And he took me to a cave, it was underground, and I sat there, and I think I sat there for about six hours. And I didn't realize how much time passed until I came out when it was dark. And for me, I think that those rounds from a place, I think that was like the first time I really chanted from a place of who I was. I feel like even now when I chant, there's some level of ego, like, yeah, I'm a devotee, yeah, Krishna loves me, yeah, you know, like, oh, now I'm initiated or whatever. You know, there's so many layers of ego that are there, and I chant from that place of who I think I am. But I think on that day I was just so beaten down with my own mind that I was chanting from a place of really, like, wow, I am nothing. I felt like Krishna, I think it was Krishna, Radharani specifically, just stripped away all the layers of my ego and just made me sit, and chanting from that place in such a holy land, but coming from a place of real despair, I think for me it was like a really powerful experience in my own japa.
Have you been there since?
Oh, many times, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds really nice. Your favorite kirtan or japa experience?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I have had a favorite or special japa moment, but I think a special kirtan, I think when I went to Radhadesh this year, there is a devotee named Nimai ji. He sang a kirtan. He sings exactly like Ayendar Prabhu.
Wow.
And it was like, I was getting a little emotional, like being in this kirtan, because it was like, this was like the greatest thing I've ever, greatest kirtan I've ever sat in. So I think that was a really special moment for me.
So, something that we try to do sometimes when we're chanting japa, we'll try to focus, and then we'll have an expression to match that. Sometimes the expression goes in front of the emotion we are feeling, so we'll try to do this or whatever. Curious about what you guys think is an appropriate expression, facial expression that shows somebody is sincere. Rohan, what would you say? What's a facial expression that shows someone's sincere when they
Can you demonstrate it for us?
Do you? What's a sincere expression of japa?
Chinese.
I think it's just scrumming. I think the head shake.
Use the mic. Yeah.
I'm not so big into the head shaking, but like it's just like really scrunching your eyes and like closing your eyes and trying to.
Closing your eyes.
Yeah.
How about you?
For me, it's Dayanidhi. Whenever I see him either in chanting or kirtan, he looks like he's chanting with so much bhava because he like bends over and closes his eyes and he sings, and it's so nice. I really feel like he chants with taste. So Dayanidhi, he's my answer.
Most of the time, it's when I'm assigned to a particular service that I completely neglect the service because.
Has there been someone in your life who has been like a silent influencer? Not, let's say, a guru or someone prominent, visible like a parent, but has there been someone that has been a silence influencer to your life? And whoever feels ready can go first.
I'll go. I think my friends. I say silent because I don't often express it or even like make it seem that, but all of my friends really inspire me in different ways in my Krishna consciousness. So yeah.
Can you select one or two and share a little bit what specifically?
Well, because they're sitting next to me, I'll put them all on the spot. I think, like Dayanidhi, I mean, he's also like the oldest, but but he was also the first to take the step of being serious in his Krishna consciousness, and for me, that's really inspirational. And for me, Rohan is inspiring because he's like, I did not see it coming. Like one day, out of the blue, he just started, like, we would do kirtan, we would goof off and be silly, and then he just started becoming so serious in his Krishna consciousness, and especially for his age, and it seemed like out of nowhere. And now I can see that a lot of it is to do with Maharaj's encouragement, but I think seeing him be so sincere, both of them are so sincere and from the heart, so I really appreciate that, and it inspires me.
Aww. Make sure you buy him some ice cream after this. How about you guys? Do you have any silent influencer, quiet influences in your life?
Yeah, some like kirtaniyas that I've been able to like, I've got the opportunity to let them stay at my house and like, see their practice and stuff. I don't really have like a serious relationship with them, or actually even any relationship with them, but like seeing their kirtan, seeing their practice, it inspires me. And and also, seeing my friends also, my peers who are younger than me, who are taking it so seriously.
There's one devotee, I remember his name is Tushta Krishna Prabhu. Some of you know him. He used to be the temple president in Denver. And he visited St. Louis one time when we were living. And he would just sit and be present in kirtan, and the focus with which he just sat in kirtan, I don't really have a relationship with him, but just that is still, I have this impression in my mind and my heart about him, and it's been a quiet influence of how to stay focused in kirtan, so I can relate with what you're saying.
Yeah, I would say my friends, but I think someone like I used to come from Mongol Arti, and I don't think I'll name drop, but this Prabhu would in front of Tulsi just sit for 2 hours, and he would not move or open his eyes or anything, and that was really like just his focus he had while chanting was super like amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So the three of you at a fairly young age have decided to make a commitment for the rest of your life. Chant 16 rounds. Not easy, even before you got married. And I commend you for that. If you're planning not to get married, that's good too. But did you have to face some kind of negative reaction from a family member or a friend saying, "You're too young, why would you want to do that? It's you know, wait until you're like 75. I had that one time. I was in a fair, some kind of, I don't remember, fair distributing books, my wife and I, and one lady walks by. She was maybe 40, I was 20 something. She looks at me like, "You're too young to be doing this." It's for old people. I was looking at her like, "You're old, why don't you stand here with me?" So have you faced something like that, some strong reaction from a family member or a friend, and how did you handle that?
I wouldn't say it was a family member or friend. I think it was myself thinking, you know, this is a commitment for my whole life. Am I too young to make this commitment? You know, is this something that I could really like follow? You know, these vows that I'm making, you know? And I think and maybe you guys could also speak to this, because I feel we all are very fortunate that we have personal relationships with our spiritual masters. And I think we were all able to have, you guys can share more, but at least for me, have many conversations about where I feel like I'm lacking, where I feel like I need to grow, where I feel like not so confident, or just, and so much time, and I feel so much time and care was given to prepare me for this step. And it really felt like my own. I wasn't being forced, and I felt like the space for dialogue and the space to take this at my own speed, I think is what actually made me feel ready to take the step, because I was able to voice my concerns so many times, my shortcomings so many times, and still, you know, be accepted, but also, you know, guided through that. So I think for me, for myself, I was the biggest doubter in terms of...
You were your own critic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone that was so opposing or anything for me. But whenever there was doubt, or whenever I felt like there might have been any opposition, because of my relationship with my Guru Maharaj, I was able to go and talk to him about it, and he cleared up any doubts. So like just taking shelter and expressing that to him, all doubts were cleared, and I was able to move forward happily. Even like talking to some of my seniors and mentors, getting their opinions and their reassurance and everything, that helped a lot.
So a support system where you could reach out to and get clarification really helped you move forward. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So a closing sort of question. In 10 years, I hope that, in your journey with the Holy Name, how would you fill that statement? How would you finish that statement? In 10 years, I hope that. We'll start with You, Rohan, would you like to start? Or you can go. Give him some time to think.
For me, I think in 10 years, I would want my relationship to be not duty-bound. I feel like I approach, especially my japa, from a place of duty and not from a place of I want to. I come because I have so much respect and regard for my spiritual master and for the sadhus that I've made this commitment for. I feel like I show up, but it's not necessarily on my own volition because I have a relationship with Nam Prabhu. So I'd want to switch from a place of duty to a place of I want to develop that relationship on my own. So, and I feel like that's far more sustainable in terms of relationship, because doing something out of duty will only last for so long, but doing it because own intrinsic motivation, I think, is far more. So I hope in 10 years it's there.
Moving from duty to love.
Yeah.
Nice. In 10 years?
Yeah, in 10 years, I hope that I'll really be able to develop a service attitude and actual love for the holy name. Like today morning, during like the guided session, seeing Hemangi Mataji like tearing up just for the thought of I want to love Krishna, or Krishna please accept me, that kind of blew my mind. Like when I say it does, those feelings aren't there. Like my heart isn't soft enough to like actually feel that. Yeah, I mean, knowing that the holy name will take me on a journey. So like, even though if I have some expectations, I don't know what will happen in 10 years, but that's what I would like to happen, is for my love for the holy name to increase. And yeah.
Rohan, when you're 30 years old, what would you like to have happen with the holy name?
Yeah, I think maybe a more respectful attitude towards chanting, because I think like Pranav was saying, like it's just like get the 16 rounds done. It's a duty. So I think like even when I thinking about like my japa, I think that's like pretty like disrespectful, because I'm trying to establish a relationship with Krishna, but I'm just doing it based off of a duty. So I think in 10 years I would like to just develop a more like respectful attitude towards chanting.
Nice. Adarat. Respectful attitude. So I want to invite people here. Anyone like to share a reflection of what you've heard them say that really impacted you? Or any questions that you might have for them that you'd like to ask? Make it a little easier, because I was a bit hard with them. Can someone be the runner for the mic?
You know, the reason we all are here because Maharaj does this annual Festival of Holy Names. And as these three young men were sharing their journey, their relationship, I was just appreciating how Maharaj has facilitated different aspects of, you know, bhakti life in their life, like yatras, doing retreats and inviting kirtaniyas to come and do kirtan. And I was just appreciating that how important sadhu sangha is. And even more, I was appreciating, and I've seen that even in other communities where, like, I've been part of Sachinandan Swami's, family, and he does something similar too. What I appreciate is this first generation of devotees taking that, what they received from Srila Prabhupada, and passing it on to not only the next, but the next generation. So I was just appreciating that because these children, these young men were exposed to that at a very young age, they were able to experience something so much more deeper. Like when I was hearing, Dayanidi's and Pranavallabha's experience, I'm Pranavallabha's mother, but this is the first time I heard about he going and chanting in the cave. So, but it was nice that I haven't experienced anything like that till now. But how fortunate they are that at such early age, they can experience that. And wow, not that life is going to be any easy, but those experiences, I was just appreciating everything, the association of a devotee, the dham, the holy name. Their presentation was, and very well facilitated by you, because if you had left it to these guys, we wouldn't have heard all this, So thank you for wonderful facilitation. Yeah, it's like I could see Nama, Rupa, Guna, Dham, Leela, everything, you could see in their presentation that they were experiencing, and that was mind-boggling for me.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Pranavallabha. Thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you so much, Dayanidhi. It's really giving us time, giving your time to us, sharing your realizations in this small age. You're really, tuned into your own selves, who you are actually, and what you're really interested in your life, and what you really want to commit yourself for the life. And your dedication is awesome, and it's because it's not just material life. Material life, when you think of something you want to do, people are really determined to do it, and they have a lot of successes in this life we hear in this material world. But because this is with Krishna, you are actually committing, and you have Guru in your side, by your side, and Krishna is with you, so I'm sure all your spiritual desires will be fulfilled. So, but one thing that I want to just add to what Mataji was sharing, Hemangi Mataji was sharing, that His Holiness Rumpa Swami Maharaj has really invested so much of his time, energy, and dedication to Srila Prabhupada in his efforts to raise his own disciples and disciples' children in many, many ways, like giving them a lot of, for every need, along with material needs they have to, if they have to be taken care of materially also, he has provided them, so that at least, because without, someone was sharing that, you were sharing because of not able to, you're not 3 days of walking, you're not able to concentrate on the holy name. So I just was thinking at that time that we are materially exhausted, then it's difficult for someone who doesn't have the devotee association like Maharaj to think of Krishna, or to like that mercy is not there, the blessing is not there. It's holy name is very subtle. It's not just the name. It's actually the coming, descending from the spiritual actually. So this opportunity is not available unless such a pure devotee of Krishna is giving it to us. So we shouldn't take it for granted just because it's coming, like, no, we're having a lot of festivals, a lot of retreats. They shouldn't be continuing like who we are, like that. So it should like change, like how we are today. It should change tomorrow from where we have taken. It should go to the next end of it. So it should not be the same the other way. So that's why Prabhu was asking you that 10 years later what you think. It is a very, very meaningful question. So if not 10 years, at least next day, what you will change, the holy name will change in you, like how the holy name is carrying you, that Dhanidhi is saying. So every day, day to day, every chanting 16 rounds you are doing, you are committing on Sunday 16 rounds, every 16 rounds you are doing, that change should happen, and you should internalize, and then you should realize Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, you should come to the stage of Maharaja's first presentation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, what he has said about the holy name. That way, yeah, so that way you can actually go to the higher stages of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So I've seen the three of you do kirtan together, but this was a really beautiful symphony of all of your personalities and how they were merging and enhancing each other. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And a question I have for you is that I find that there is sometimes judgment that is put on children and youth that are growing up, that you don't so much like the philosophy and you only like certain aspects. And for me, I find it painful, and I'm wondering if you have perceived judgment and how have you processed it for yourself?
For me personally, I have faced that. I was only interested in kirtan, or I wasn't interested in hearing or reading or anything like that. So there was always voices from the side, like, you're not gonna know anything about it, like you're not gonna gain anything from just sitting in kirtan. But for me, I was gaining so much from sitting in kirtan. That's where my experiences were. So I think even though I heard those voices coming from the side, since the kirtan was so fulfilling for me, and I was satisfied by sitting in the kirtan, I don't think I really took any of the judgment to heart, because that was my way of connecting with Krishna. So I think even if children are facing that judgment and stuff, if they're able to connect with Krishna in whatever the way that they're able to connect with Krishna, they should be fulfilled in that. And as time goes on, as he was saying, if you do feel inclined to, read, chant, hear, whatever, I think that'll naturally progress as you develop a relationship. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for very wonderful sharings. I have 3 comments for 3 of you and 1 question, whoever would like to answer. So from Pranavallabha's experiences, it was really beautiful that he shared that Krishna consciousness is experiential. And I would love to be there some point in time. Of course, we had some experiences. But yeah, I never been to Vrindavan, so I don't know how it feels like there. But it is so beautiful, and I'm thinking that how Krishna showed his mercy in each of your life, that how he shared experience of Vrindavan. For you, Dayanidhi, like you shared that for some time you didn't chant at all. First, you rapidly, went uphill, and then you didn't chant at all. But then you also had that experience that you were missing something. So I felt that, wow, that was again Krishna's mercy. And for Rohan, when he shared that he was not feeling any taste for kirtan for a little bit of time, and then he approached Maharaj. So that also is a point for learning, that when we are experiencing such vulnerability, we need to approach our spiritual well-wishers. So thank you, Rohan. And you were guarded by Maharaj and you came back to your taste. So it is all amazing that how Krishna showed mercy in your lives. My question is, you equivocally shared that we should not force our children. And as a parent, I feel that I do that sometimes, and my children can vouch for it. But I also feel that Prabhupada has said that proof is in the pudding. He has said time and again, and that's the basis why I keep telling them that if you won't do it, you won't, realize it. You have to do it for some time, then only you realize the benefits. So if you have any inputs on that.
The proof is in the pudding, but you must like pudding in the first place. I think that, yes, it's in the pudding, but I think any aspect of Krishna consciousness is, like in Shikshashtakam it says, you've invested all of your potencies in your different names. So like that, the different angas of bhakti, of course the the holy name is fully the Lord, but that he's not more invested in japa than in kirtan. The Lord is actually equally present in both. And actually the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan, not japa. So I'm just using kirtan as an example. It could be any aspect of bhakti. If someone likes something, just do that. You don't have to do everything for there to be some development of Krishna consciousness. Just whatever is something small that someone's natural propensity that they like, they should just do that. That is the proof that's in the pudding. And then naturally, if they have more attraction, it will grow. But I feel like if it's something is forced upon you, then you won't like it. I wouldn't like even in my own practice, when people have told me that I should do something, I want to do it even less. So I think it's just do whatever you like. The Lord has invested his potencies in all the different aspects. So I feel like it's not that you have to do everything for you to receive some sort of taste. It's just how I see it.
Hare Krishna. I just want to share that I'm feeling so delighted to see this and to experience this being facilitated in the mainstream retreat, that we have the younger ones who are able to share with us. Thank you for doing it. I'm sure it wasn't comfortable sometimes. My question is, when we have these kind of events, and if you have to reflect back to your teenage years, either you felt supported through these events, or how you would envision yourself when you reflect back of how you would have been supported. What would be your words of wisdom that you could share with us who have children who are still young and are going to hit those years soon? When you reflect back, how would you have felt more supported through these gatherings that we have? Is it clear? Yeah, thank you.
I think having fun, I think it's just finding having fun with your friends. I think forcing it to be overly Krishna conscious, I think would make it less fun, at least at that age. I think just having fun with other devotees, and I think as you develop, as you become older and you mature, the conversations you have with your friends naturally become more mature. And I think, but that because the relationship was established when you're younger, I think that naturally makes you closer when you're older. So the basis not being that, we have to read or chant together, but we're just all having fun together. And I think that just naturally as you mature as a person, the conversations and what you speak about just mature sometimes.
Yeah, definitely for me, when I was younger, the thing that kept me coming back every year to Naperville or Chicago was not oh, this speaker is coming, or, you know, it was because all my friends were going to be there, and I knew we could play in front of the temple or like do kids activities and everything that you organized. So yeah, it was developing the relationships when we were younger with all our friends and having fun with them that kept me coming back, and naturally that progressed, and yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, three of you, and thank you for suggesting to have this session. Thank you for suggesting this format, and also thank you for suggesting the three of you.
Huge Haribol for Nandu doing this next year. Nandu sitting on the chair. Haribol!
And thank you for being the moderator and bringing it. It's just bringing so much joy. I was telling Rohan, we always see him just playing Mridanga, just one side of him. But I really wanted, devotees to experience the other side. The other, so many beautiful sides all of you have. I'm really, really very touched, and just wanted to thank all four of you. Thank you. And I did send out an announcement regarding the Harinam this afternoon. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're stealing the thunder. Just joking. So let's give them a really warm welcome, warm applause. It's not easy. I know I asked them some really, thought-provoking questions. It's not easy to be put on the spot, and you guys agreed to do it. I offered, I can give you the questions ahead of time, and they didn't, they chose not to receive it, so it's more impromptu. I love the authenticity of the team here, and in general the generation that's coming up, because only through authenticity or through honesty can we actually grow in any field, especially in spirituality. So my heart goes out to you guys for what you're doing for the community as examples. I know, Krishna consciousness is not a piece of cake. I know japa is not a piece of cake. But you guys are trying, and in that trying, and we're all kind of like locked in arms trying together, is what's going to get us there. So thank you so much for your example, and thank you for being here and putting yourself out there to be vulnerable and share your experience. Hare Krishna. Announcement? So we have announcements next. Shalika?